Good evening. I'm State Senator Dr. Bob Onder, calling you from the Jeff City Swamp. I excuse the poor lighting and background here. I'm actually in my hotel room, just returning from a day in the big building where I am sorry to say I witnessed one of the worst sellouts of the cause of conservatism, the cause of Reagan Republicanism that I have ever seen in my days in the legislature. And I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of sleazy stuff in my days in the legislature, and this has got to be one of the worst. Many of you may have seen an article that I put up on my Facebook page a little while ago from Red State. Red State is a national conservative publication, and it was entitled, "The Missouri GOP Leaders Try to Surrender on Redistricting and Receive the Backlash That They Deserve." It started out, imagine you were a GOP legislative leader in a state that Donald Trump won by 15 points. Further, imagine that you had supermajorities in the House and the Senate in your state, and that you had a Republican governor. What would you do? Well, we know what Democrats are doing around the country, whether it be California or New York or across the river in Illinois. Democrats are fighting and scratching to get every possible seat they can to represent their constituents in Congress. So in Illinois alone, 2 Republican districts are being drawn and turned into Democrat districts. That's what Nancy Pelosi and the National Democrat Party are doing to retain power in their socialist agenda. So what's going on in Missouri? We're fighting and scratching for every congressional seat we can, right? Wrong. Today, unfortunately, the Missouri House of Representatives passed what I would call the Nancy Pelosi RINO Map. This is the map to give Nancy Pelosi 1 or 2 extra congressional seats so that she can continue on her radical left agenda and, in all honesty, deny Missourians of the representation they deserve in a state that Donald Trump carried by over 15 points. So what's going on? Well, very simply, we could draw a map that had 7 conservative Republican congressmen going to Washington, D.C., and 1 liberal, anti-gun, pro-abortion, pro-socialist Democrat. We could draw, again, a 7-and-1 map. You know what the RINOs did in the Missouri House today? They passed a map that is at best 6-2, and actually, I would argue 5-3. So what they did is went out of the way to preserve another liberal Democrat seat in Kansas City, Missouri. And it's not like we don't have enough Republican votes to spare. There are congressional districts in Missouri under this new RINO map that are plus 30 Republicans, plus 40 Republicans, in one case plus 60 Republicans. But they drew 2 safe Democrat, liberal Democrat, pro-abortion, socialist, anti-gun, anti-election integrity congressional seats for the Democrats. But you know what? It gets worse. That's why I'm calling it a 5-and-3 map. Because Congressional District 2, which has been occupied by a Republican, but there have been some close races there, that district now is very purple at best. In fact, I'll tell you how purple it is. Roy Blunt, when he ran for re-election, he won that district, that newly constituted Nancy Pelosi RINO district. He won that district by 0.1 points. 0.1 points. And then Donald Trump, the greatest president of the 21st century, he won it only by 3 points. At the same time, he won the state by 15 points. Well, what about our good friend Josh Hawley? Josh Hawley in 2018 lost CD2 in the newly constituted RINO sellout Nancy Pelosi Republican map. So I am really disappointed, my friends, to tell you that I have here the vote sheet, and I am very disappointed to see how many members of the House Republican caucus voted for the Nancy Pelosi RINO map, the 5-3 map, to send 2 extra pro-choice, anti-gun Democrats to Congress. And I'm sorry to say that even in my own county, I live in St. Charles County, a very conservative Republican county. Many of you know me. I have a 100% Americans Conservative Union voting record this cycle last in 2021. The same county that sent me to the Missouri Senate, three of our members sold out the cause of conservatism, of life, of the Second Amendment, of fighting socialism. Three of our members voted for this RINO 5-3 Nancy Pelosi map. So one of those actually is on the House leadership team. So I hold him especially responsible for this garbage map. And he is actually even running for my state Senate seat. Could you imagine that? So in any case, this is what you need to do. This is the call to action. I don't care where in the state you live. You need to call your state rep and your state senator, or email them or text them if you have their cell phone number. Call, email, text, because the final vote on this House Nancy Pelosi RINO map is going to be tomorrow morning. I believe it's 10 a.m. So you've got to take action right away. So now, no matter what, so even if some of these RINO votes flip, House leadership, the fix is in, guys. They're going to work to flip some other votes in the direction they wanted to go. So you need to call your state rep, your state senator. You can go to senate.mo.gov or house.mo.gov, put in your address and get legislator lookup. Send an email right away. But call too. The offices aren't open right now. It's like 7 at night. But call, get your message on their answering machine right now. Tell them we want a 7-1 map. For heaven's sakes, at least do a strong 6-2 map. But no, we can do a 7-1 map, because this is about the future of our republic. This is about whether we want a Make America Great Again agenda, if we want to stand for the sanctity of human life, if we want to stand for the Second Amendment, if we want to fight against Democrats stealing our elections, and that's exactly what they're doing, folks, with the House Bill 1 that's sitting on, that Nancy Pelosi sent over to the Senate. If you want to stop this socialism on the march, this radical Green New Deal agenda, if you want to stop those things, you need to call. You need to call your state rep and your state senator tonight, tomorrow morning. Don't let them go. They need to vote this down. It only passed with 2 votes to spare, guys. We just need to flip half a dozen, 10. Heck, I'd like to flip the whole Republican caucus, every so-called Republican who voted for this piece of garbage map. And we need to flip it. And then they could go back to work with a good map, a map that stands for our values, that stands for the principle to make America great again. We cannot have this kind of folks, this is a betrayal. This is treason. This is against everything that you stand for, everything that these people ran for when they put their name on the ballot as Republicans. So, call senate.mo.gov, house.mo.gov. Tell them to this. And again, let me give you the bill number. It is House Bill 2117. So the bill that Nancy Pelosi wants to pass tomorrow is House Bill 2117. Tell them to vote down House Bill 2117 and start over and get a fair map that will represent us in the Congress, represent the people of the state of Missouri in the United States Congress. Hey, thanks for your support. Thanks for your vote. Thanks for all your help throughout the years, your moral support, your encouragement, and most of all, your prayers. Hey, together, let's make Missouri great again. Let's make America great again. God bless.